You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk, a movie podcast where we give pumps and dumps.
Hello and welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week, I'm your chunk.
I'm Doge, and Ferris Bueller, you're my chunk.
When Carter was in Egypt land, let my hunky go.
Carter, I noticed that you said you were the hunk.
What's up? Why are you?
It was perfect. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
That's
Tell
why.
us.
Okay.
Perfect.
Tell
why.
me.
I saw Fiddler on the Roof last night, and I'm walking into the Dallas Summer Musicals, Fair Park, whatever you call it, theater, anticipating, I don't know. I was like trying not to get my hopes up because I knew Fiddler on the Roof is where y'all's hunkdom came from.
Yeah.
True.
It was the bathroom incident,
Yes.
and that's what happened. And so I was like, maybe it's going to happen to me. And I can't tell you, I couldn't even get past security before it happened to me. And it happened to me twice.
Whoa.
So here's what happens. When you are, and I was just talking to Chelsea as we were walking in about the crowd generationally, because you said, with Fiddler on the Roof, it's a classic. Most of the people were older.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of generation to where if you're around enough of them and you're wearing some brown boots, not like cowboy boots, some like worn brown boots,
Yeah.
like I was, jeans, and just a plain white t-shirt, everyone thinks you're Bruce Springsteen. So security, I'm going through security, and I get called the boss.
Wow.
And then I'm in the bathroom,
Oh, no.
and someone was so taken aback in the urinal next to me, they were like, "Hey, Bruce, good to see you." And then they said boss again before I left the bathroom, and I'm just cracking up to Chelsea. I'm like, Chelsea,
What?
evidently I got some boss vibes right now.
Did you have like a pack of cigs rolled up in your white t-shirt sleeve or something?
No.
Like, what's going on?
No, not at all. But I got two. The first two, only two comparisons to Bruce Springsteen in my life within 4 minutes of each other.
Did you feel like you were born to see Fiddler on the Roof?
Basically.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Where were you in the bathroom like,
I know. Well, here's what's funny.
Come to the musical.
So you know the song The River?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my favorite Bruce Springsteen song. But for some reason, the only part that I can do somewhat of an impersonation of Bruce Springsteen is in that part when he's like, and that's what kept going over and over in my head was like, got a union card and a wedding code. Like, that's the only part that kept going. But I'm just kind of like humming to myself, like, down to the river. Like, the whole time I'm there. It was great. I felt like a celebrity. And all it took was two people.
your bathroom Bruce, baby?
They were like,
Bathroom Bruce?
"Oh, okay, boss." Like the guy who's security line was going, "Oh, we got the boss right here." And I was like, "Boss?" And I looked down.
It would have taken me a minute.
I know.
Sure.
And then I looked down and I was like, "Is that a?" But then I got a Bruce, and I was like, okay.
Is that when it clicked? Is
Yeah.
that when you were
I was like,
okay.
"Oh
That's
my
what that
God,
Dude, what the heck?
isn't that fun?"
That's crazy.
That would not be my first thought.
No
of,
way.
No.
white t-shirt, jeans, and boots.
Let us know, listeners, if that would be any of your first thought. That does not seem like a very reasonable
Seems like a leap to me.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, but yeah, I just felt in charge the rest of the night
Because you're the boss.
because I was kind of
Hey,
telling everybody
what
what to do.
decade was Bruce big in?
He's big in the 80s. He's
80s?
big in several decades, TBH.
Sure,
Yeah.
but the biggest.
Probably was the 80s.
Probably
Before
the
2019, the 80s.
Yeah, before right now.
Before right
in the
now, the
bathroom.
80s.
He's pretty
The
timeless.
80s. You know who else was big in the 80s?
Uh-huh.
John Hughes.
Sting.
Oh, yeah, and Sting.
Yeah.
But also John Hughes.
Yes.
And he directed the movie we're talking about today,
Yes.
which is known as Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Man,
Ferris Bueller's No Good, Very Bad Day. What is it?
I just feel like we have had so many movies recently that have a colon that I either need to say, I feel like I need to say the rest
Colon.
of the title after.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Hey.
something presents. But
Hey.
it's just Ferris Bueller's Day Off, like a normal movie title.
Ferris Bueller has a colon, though.
He for
He's a person.
sure
He's a
has
person.
Actually, we don't know
sure
that.
has a colon. That's true. That's my dump. My super
no,
dump
he has
on
his
it.
shirt off. We
Does
know
he
that.
have a colon?
We know that. There's no bag.
Yeah.
So, would you teach me a quick lesson, Doge?
I would.
A lesson on give me Ferris 101. Give me a synopsis of this bad boy. And before you do give us that synopsis, I guess we should probably say this is part 2 of our back to school series.
Yeah, it sure is.
Ring ring. You're late for class.
Well, and as part of our back to school special today, we're actually running a huge sale on synopsi. What's the plural of synopsis?
Synopsi.
Synopsi. We're running a special on those, and you can get 2 for
And
the price of
pencil boxes.
1. So let me hit you with our first ever double synopsis. There are 2 good ones on IMDb, and I couldn't pick which one.
Is it tax free?
It's tax-free weekend, baby.
Oh.
Rob Hartill writes,
Rob Archill.
Ferris is a streetwise kid who knows all the tricks.
What's happening? We're already
Street
way
rat.
off track.
Today, he decides to take the day off school. When Ferris takes the day off,
Fully
so must his
David
best friends Cameron and
Closer.
Sloan. Cameron is reluctantly persuaded to borrow his father's Ferrari, and together they hatch a plan to get Sloan out of class. Suspicious Dean of Students Ed Rooney knows all about Ferris, but can never catch him. Ferris' sister Jeannie is also frustrated that Ferris always gets away with his tricks and she doesn't. Furthermore, Ferris is an angel in his parents' eyes. It's Ferris' day off, he's out to enjoy himself, and he does. But wait, don't leave yet. We're going to throw in a free synopsis from Commander Blue,
Commander Blue?
who writes, Ferris Bueller has played hooky numbers of times, and this time he's got the entire school and more believing he is on the verge of death. On this special day off, Ferris invites his friend Cameron Fry and his girlfriend Sloan Peterson to his day of fun while taking Cameron's father's precious Ferrari for transportation. All the while, the principal Ed Rooney is determined to prove Ferris is faking his illness, and Ferris's agitated sister Jeannie also has a goal to catch Ferris off guard. Ferris enjoys his day with his friends until the mileage of the Ferrari reads 1 too many miles driven and Cameron has a blowout.
1 too many, huh?
1 too
That's
many
the
miles.
end.
That's the end.
Interesting.
Apparently.
So They
So I
lost
feel like
Wi-Fi at the
we
end
might
there.
not even need to review it.
Probably
I think we have
not.
a pretty thorough understanding at this point of Ferris Bueller's fun day where he skips school.
So to close today, I guess so Ferris Bueller is such a good movie. And it's weird because it's kind of about nothing.
A little bit.
Like this movie is almost all atmosphere.
The movie, to me, this is like one of the clearest distillations of a movie that's completely about a feeling.
Right.
Like
yes.
this movie is completely about what it feels like to be 17 in April of your senior year.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Ben Stein, I'm reading this.
Yes.
Bueller.
Was exceptionally moved by the film, calling it the most life-affirming movie possibly of the entire post-war period.
Jeez.
This is to comedies what Gone with the Wind is to epics, Stein
Wow.
added.
Wow.
It will never die because it responds to and calls forth such human emotions. It isn't dirty. There's nothing mean-spirited about it. There's nothing sneering or sniggering about it. It's just wholesome. We want to be free. We want to have a good time. We know we're not going to be able to all of our lives. We know we're going to have to buckle down and work. We know we're going to have to eventually become family men and women and have responsibilities and pay our bills, but just give us a couple of good days that we can look back on.
Ben.
Wow.
Very good.
That's
my
incredible.
Gosh.
He's
Full
right,
body
though.
chills right now,
I mean,
by the
we're-
way.
He's totally right.
We're what, 30 years on from this movie?
Yeah.
Even a little more?
33. Yeah,
That's
Commander
exactly
86.
what it is.
It's still just as good.
Yep. And there was, now, did there end up being a sequel?
No, they kicked it around.
There was a TV show
Okay, so
Wasn't
there
there
was,
really?
there was.
with none of the cast, but Jennifer Aniston played Jeannie.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah.
Another Jennifer.
That was
also.
one of the trivias that I read that I really enjoyed because it was not Matthew Broderick's call, but he was a big,
Well, you can't do it without him.
well, and he was in the camp of saying like, no, it needs to be something that people can reference back to. Like he's like, we don't need to put this in another generation or another era. It needs to be right here in the 80s where
Yeah.
it belongs.
Yeah.
Is this movie possible without Matthew Broderick?
No, I don't think so.
I don't either.
He is so uniquely charming
Yes.
to
Yes.
me. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Like seeing Ferris Bueller's Day Off feels like the biggest resume. Like how do I phrase this? So he's married to Sarah Jessica Parker,
Right.
who I mean, when you look at them now, it's like, wow, how did he pull that off? I mean, he's just this like quiet, gentle man. But Ferris Bueller's Day Off shows, I think, maybe some of the most charm we get from him. That makes me think of, not that they don't give two rips about whether I think that they're worthy for each other, but it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, he does not feel out of place with Sloane.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. Well, I think it's something about, we should hate him. Ferris is incredibly selfish. But he's also so high school. Like he's justifying the things that he does by saying it's for other people when really he just wants this day. But he also does care at the same time.
Yeah.
He's so muddy that we should be so annoyed by him. And you've met so many kids that think they're Ferris.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
But there's just something about him.
I think the thing that helps it be palatable is the layer of unreality that we view this through. Like it's real similar to the band scene in 500 Days of Summer.
Yes, it is.
Like that kind of unreality of like factually Ferris probably didn't have the entire city of Chicago thinking he was dying.
Right.
Probably didn't crash a parade in
But
the
that's
middle of
just
the
how
city.
it feels like.
Love
But
it,
it
though.
felt like he did that. And so that's what we see. We see what it feels like, not what it is. Does that make sense?
So I was telling Callie,
yes.
the credits rolled. Well, the actual ending
Yes.
rolled. And I told Callie, this is a superhero movie.
Yeah.
You have to suspend reality. You have to suspend your disbelief and just enjoy what you're seeing and take it at face value and just say, if that's not what really happened, that's fine. But Ferris is a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
He is a fallen, corrupted superhero that ultimately wants to do good. Like, his superpower is everything always goes his way no matter what.
Yeah.
So Catwoman.
Right.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And as I was watching and thinking about this, there were so many times where I was like, yeah, no way, but it's Ferris, so fine. The same way that you feel when Captain America holds a helicopter with one arm. Like,
The way you said when The Rock holds a helicopter with one
Right,
arm almost
sorry.
sounded like Captain America.
my fault.
That's weird.
Wait, but he is Captain America.
He is. Captain
I thought we all had that understanding that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is actually
Is
Captain
the actual Captain
He's
America.
Captain Samoa.
Yeah. It's very good. But Ferris is such an interesting character. And I think we start where all good movies start, at the beginning. Ferris is in bed, and he's not looking so hot.
Hey, let's be really honest with the three of us. I think I know Doja's answer because I'm finding out he's a really good boy. You ever play sick?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I did for sure.
No.
Yeah, not surprised.
I would fake in the middle of the
For
day to go home.
Sure. Yep.
Like, I would go to the nurse and be like, oh, I really feel so good.
Yep.
I want to try it. I've never done it. I want to try it. Maybe next time we're supposed to record the podcast, I'll just be like,
It's not as fun as an adult because people will just
Bad
believe
start.
you.
Your voice doesn't change that much when you
It does.
fake
When
it.
every time I'm be like, I don't think I can record the podcast today.
See, that's a trick that you learn is that, yeah, you're right. It doesn't change that much. If you're gonna fake, you can't. You have to go just beyond normal.
Yeah.
Try this on for size. I don't feel very good.
No, I don't think so, Ben.
I don't think I can record the podcast.
We need to have a training montage of like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off training montage of how to get Doge to fake sick.
So he gives you the rules, though. So his parents leave,
Which is
He does
great.
give you
His
the rules.
interaction with
Another
his parents
500
is
Days
so
of Summer vibe here.
Yes.
Like I wonder if they got some. Well, no, it's not like if anyone talks to the camera. You know, if anyone breaks that wall, it's not just a Ferris Bueller thing. But
his okay, man, I love you so much, Daddy. Like that whole thing is so funny. But when they leave and he pops up and he starts giving us the rules for faking sick, it's brilliant.
yeah,
The words on the screen are
Yes.
so good.
Yeah.
His direct to camera interaction is so good.
Is this the first movie without a fourth wall that we've reviewed on the show?
I don't think so. I can't think of what the other one would be,
Hitch.
but I feel like there's
Oh, Hitch. Yeah, that's true.
Hitch does it.
My other favorite movie.
Well, and then I mean, if you count it happening at all, it did happen in 500 Days of Summer right at the very end.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Never mind. That was
So.
a dumb thing to say. I think I'm sick.
he breaks it very often. And what I appreciate is they don't do the Saved by the Bell like timeout to like go like the world continues behind
Yep.
Ferris.
Yeah.
As he's talking to you.
Well, Ferris is 100% the nucleus of this entire world.
Yes. Yes.
Everything happens around Ferris.
Which is a very high school thing. Of
love
like,
it.
I'm the center.
Yep,
But
I love it.
as he's talking to you, he's preparing his traps. It's very Home Alone too, by the way. This was
Lost in
Home
New
Alone
York.
before Home Alone.
Yeah.
Like very like I'm setting up like pulley systems to look like I'm in my bed when my parents come home, and I have recordings set up so that when somebody rings the door, but like that is all Kevin McAllister before Kevin McAllister.
So the funny thing, he said he doesn't have a car.
Right.
But he has a synthesizer, which in the 80s was like $8,000.
Well, and he got a computer.
Well, that's what Jeannie says. She's like, I got a car, he got a computer.
So are they twins? Are they the same age?
I think Jeannie's younger.
She's probably Sloane's age, is my guess.
Okay,
I was
so
always
she's in
thinking
Sloane's
she's a
grade.
junior. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Matthew Broderick and what is that actress's name?
Jennifer Grey.
They were engaged, like they were married after this, right?
Yeah, it was a super sad thing that happened to them. It was a
fatal car accident.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah.
But she's married now to Agent Phil Coulson from the Marvel movies.
Great.
Yes, 100%.
Ooh.
When we keep this part
One of
in
you
and
is
Doge
faking
proven
being
wrong,
right.
it's going to be so good. I just watched Dirty Dancing last week and looked it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Wikipedia says... Wikipedia says they're married. Carter, what do we think about?
No, dude, you can't be in. You cannot come into the back to school.
You can't
series and use Wikipedia as an actual reference.
that's
you can't
true.
get
You
it from
can't cite that
Wikipedia.
source.
Yeah.
I just watched Dirty Dancing for the first time actually last week, and so
Dude,
I'm an IMDb boy.
It is not a bad
Why
movie.
did I think Clark Gregg was married to Jennifer Connelly?
That is Vision.
Paul Bettany.
Yeah, Paul Bettany's married to Jennifer Connelly.
Only one wife named Jennifer allowed in the MCU. Please.
Please,
Just
no
be
more.
considerate.
So we're watching this, and when we were watching Dirty Dancing, I told Callie, "Hey, baby is Jeannie Bueller. That's Ferris Bueller's sister in the movie." And she was like, "Oh, okay, cool." She walks into the room, and Callie goes, "Hey, that's baby from Dirty Dancing." And I was like, "A, you've seen this movie. B, I just told you that."
Yeah, that's funny. And now I can't get "I've had the time of my life" out of my head.
Sorry, man. Didn't mean to ruin it. It's a great song too. Speaking of which, there's so many great songs in this movie.
Guys, the music was almost my super pump for this movie because of things like "Let My Cameron Go,"
Right?
Things like
Donkashane, Twist and Shout,
the Genie song at the end.
Yeah.
Like the way that the music just leans in, and like again, the music is about the emotion. The music is what it feels like whenever, like when it zooms in on Ed Rooney and we have the like huge like orchestra thing of something's gone wrong when he thinks he's talking to Sloane's dad.
Yeah.
Right.
The way the music just fully commits to the bit there.
Yeah, this was the
It's so
80s
good.
version soundtrack as a supporting cast member
Yes.
of like what Baby Driver did.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, it feels super similar. And
Granted, Baby Driver is way more precise and kind of written for
sure.
Yeah.
the movie. But so what was the song? It's like boom, oh, how. Like what's the one when they're in Cameron, they're looking at the Ferrari. And that song plays a couple of times. I hope we keep this. I told myself,
Are you
listen,
about the bow bow chicka chicka?
yeah.
Yeah. It's called Oh Yeah.
Down now, bow. bow, bow. So that song
Yeah, I was reading this.
had a resurgence after this
Well,
movie.
it was like a nothing song. when
Right.
it came
John
out.
Hughes tried to pick several songs like that outside of the ones that were like super classics because he was like, I want it to be just feel like it was just for the movie kind of thing. You need to know that I debated. And again, one of the good things about this show is we don't do, outside of watching the actual movie and developing opinions for ourselves, we don't do a lot of prep.
Yeah.
No.
Like we want this to be organic
kinda
in
come
here.
talk about it.
For me, this was some of the only coaching I've ever done myself. I was like, do I want to try? Because I can't exactly remember how this song goes. But I bet they pick up on it. And it really bothered me. And then I came in and did it. Just go out there and try, people. I screwed it up.
Yeah. Just
But
give
I
it
did
a
it.
shot. We're here to tell you to follow your dreams.
Believe in yourself.
Also that one. But yeah, the music is hugely important. I was actually just about to bring up that song. Oh yeah. I mean, once it comes into the movie, it stays. It comes back a lot. And now that song is forever associated with Ferris Bueller.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the last song, or it's the last sound of the movie.
Yeah.
As he comes out and you're still here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can do that now and somebody will go, oh yeah, Ferris Bueller.
Yep.
Which is kind of awesome.
This is the kind of movie that if I had directed and written one, it would be this vibe. I would love to have had something that was culturally relevant, like that was just not even a cult classic. It's like something that can be referenced often.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be some kind of Oscar-nominated film. Like I would love to have something like this.
Sure.
Well, and maybe that's part of what Ben Stein is saying too.
Right.
Is like
It's a time capsule.
this movie is our just couple of good days. Like maybe I feel that way just because we do a podcast, but like this movie is our good day. There's going to be days when we just have to go to work and talk about Green Book or talk about Abduction by Taylor Lautner. Movies we don't love, but we've got to talk about.
Sure.
But this is just our one good day that feels great the whole time.
I agree.
Well, and I think what we might be slowly discovering as we're talking about this is we're not really making our way through this plot, especially up front, because the movie is about atmosphere. Like, that's what this movie is. So we've got a ton of stuff. We've got Ferris figuring out his plan. He calls Cameron. Cameron is maybe my favorite character in this.
He was 29 when they filmed this?
Yeah.
I hope when I'm 29, I can pass for 17.
I might be able to. People still think I'm 12, so there's that. But Cameron, I think he's my favorite character in the movie.
Do you think, I mean, it's called Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but it feels like, and I'm looking at my story structure guy here for Doge, of just knowing the anatomy of it.
It's Cam's day off.
Well, it feels like it's Cam's story. Does it not?
Because
Is he the only one? He's the only one with some kind of redemptive.
He's also the only
lesson.
one with consequences.
Like a discovery. Yeah.
Cam learns a lesson. Cameron
has the
grows and
actual
changes.
most at stake.
Yeah. Ferris is like a force of nature.
Yep. And
It's like how Godzilla movies are all called Godzilla, but Godzilla doesn't have a character arc.
Right.
It's just a force of nature.
that's funny. That's such a good reference. And yeah, because Cam definitely has the most poignant moments
Yeah.
to me
Well,
in the
and
movie.
the idea that, okay, so Cam's my super pump.
Love it.
There I said it. The idea that Cam is, that he feels better when he's sick because there's something actually wrong and he doesn't have to look for something to be wrong now.
Mm-hmm.
That is such an insightful thing to put in this particular character.
for real.
Like just this idea of like his parents fight, his home life is miserable. So he's always looking for ways to either get attention or I think more accurately, some sort of tenderness, some sort of kindness leveled towards him.
Yep.
And so when he's actually sick, he feels better because it's like, I don't have to try now. People will come and care for me now.
Well, I feel like it's easy too. Like he kind of resists saying, like we don't get until the end any kind of indictment against the way his parents act. At the beginning, it's all my dad's going to kill me. My dad's going to kill me. And then at the end, it's my old man is pushing me around. He doesn't respect me.
The way
And
he says that.
But I think the thing is that he feels better when he's sick because then he can quantify. He's like, I know something's wrong. I feel something's wrong. Oh, good. It's because I'm sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than having to address the stuff that's actually messed up in his life.
Yeah. There's that little internal struggle and the thing that he has to discover about himself. I don't think there's a better setting to have something like that than a movie about like high school aged kids.
Well, and about leaving that time period.
Yeah.
Particularly the idea of I've really only got the one or two friends and the one or two things that I like doing, and they're all going to be here when I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And I think I love about Cam that we get to watch him process this through the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we even get, it's so true to life. You can have a bad day mentally and be thinking about all these things and still have these bright shining moments throughout where you're cheering your friend on in a parade or yelling at batters at the Cubs game. Like those things are not mutually exclusive where it's bad day, good moments. They can't go hand in hand.
Right.
And so, I think I just love like where Ferris is the superhero force of nature, Cameron represents the very human elements of this movie. And I think that's why I like him so
Excellent. I love that. Very much.
And speaking of humans, we got to talk about Ed Rooney.
Oh, yes. Now,
What
one
a
of our
ridiculous
synopses, I know, one of our synopsi said Dean of Students. Well, isn't he just the principal?
No, he calls himself the Dean of
calls
Students.
himself the Dean of
Because he's
Students.
trying to be a little extra.
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yo, his
Unless high schools had
secretary,
deans.
She's incredible.
She's so
She's had a
funny.
very prolific career since this. Have you looked her up on IMDb?
Yes.
Yeah. She's done like a ton of voice acting and things like that. She was in Zootopia most recently. Like, she's
Yeah.
crazy.
So funny.
she's so funny.
She's
and
a really righteous dude.
dude, her moment, and that was ad lib.
I know.
Almost everything she did that was awesome was just her mind.
Was the pencils? Please
Yes,
tell me the pencils.
that
The pencils was
thing-
John Hughes.
John
funny.
Hughes was saying, I wonder how many we can fit into this.
Because
Because
it's so
her
puffy.
hairdresser thing fell through. And she was like, I think my character would want to look like how she felt her prettiest, which was in the 60s. So my hair
She's
is
just
going
going
to
to
be
keep the
60s.
same hairstyle.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to tease it out.
And John Hughes was like, we can fit 3 in there, I bet.
And then they did. And then she's just pulling them out the very first time we see her.
Which is so funny.
But her trying to answer the phone, it's Rudy.
Hold on.
Where's the what is the most guttural masculine? Oh my gosh. Like she probably had never tried to sound like a man before in her life. And so she does it for the first time. It feels like that's the narrative I'm creating by the way she performed that.
Well, and I want to lock in on her for 2 seconds just because her run through of everybody who loves Ferris,
all
the
the
dweeb
types of
boys, the
students.
jocks, she named that. If you could condense that into a fine powder and mix it into a milkshake, like a protein shake for breakfast, that's high school movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That run through of here's all the clicks. That is so quintessential high school movie.
It reminded me of 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yep.
Yeah, or Mean Girls, which we'll get to. It's very much click oriented.
Yep.
And so I love that scene when she's running through and of course we get Righteous Dude, which is a fantastic line.
Yeah.
But when you have a character as powerful as Ferris, with a sidekick as moody and human as Kim, and a girlfriend as dynamic as Sloane.
Sloane's great.
Sloane's a great character. And I was worried rewatching this for the first time in a while that it was not going to be that. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
She has agency. She has independence and character, and is not just...
Which is so Hughes. I mean,
right.
Usually it's a girl. This is one of his only movies, right, where a guy is the protagonist?
Yeah, she was actually... Molly Ringwald was going to be Sloane, and then he decided no. And so,
Beethoven. It's a boy dog.
Did he do Beethoven?
Yeah.
Weird.
Beethoven 1.
That's funny.
Good movie.
I had no idea.
Yep.
But in this world, you need a foil.
Mm-hmm.
And you need that foil to be just awful and represent everything that holds high school kids down. And that's Ed Rooney.
He's a cartoon.
He is
Very
a cartoon.
The running.
Actually, he's a real cartoon because he looks exactly like Nigel Thornberry.
Oh my God.
100%.
I thought the same thing. Keep it. One of my favorite scenes is when he's running down the hall, except he walks in front of the doors.
Windows. Oh my goodness.
I keep wanting to be like, oh, dude, it's iconic. This movie's just iconic.
Yeah.
It's so hard to talk about it
Swing, butter.
without being like, you guys.
Kennedy.
You guys remember that time when they pretended to be Sloane's dad?
Yeah, that was awesome. I know.
It's so hard to not do that.
It's like the Chris Farley interview.
Yeah. Did he die hard?
That was awesome.
Do you remember when you said that song yesterday? Did you mean it? Yeah.
But Ed is in a larger-than-life movie, a larger-than-life villain, and it really kicks into high gear.
It's such a Home Alone vibe.
I'm telling you, man, Home Alone is just Ferris Bueller with a kid and violence.
Well, that's exactly I think that's what Ben Stein is getting at with the timelessness of this movie. This is, for better or worse, this is a template that other movies have accidentally used or on purpose used.
Sure.
Yeah.
As they're crafting their movie.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Well, and not to get too far into Marvel, because we know that we can do that too easily sometimes, but you can see where...
Infinity Stones.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
You can see where both
Ferris
of the
is the most
Spider-Man
powerful
movies,
Infinity Stone.
maybe both of the Spider-Man movies have followed this. Music plays a big role.
Yeah.
There's a sense of freedom and a sense of encroaching on that freedom. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this movie became sort of the measuring rod by which to see where other high school movies stand.
Yeah.
Which is good, I think. Or
And
bad,
it's funny
depending on
because
who you
a
are.
lot of it's not in a high school.
Right? But
I
it
was
is
thinking
so
this is
the day
quintessentially
off
high school.
As
high
I was
school.
watching that, I was like, this is a weird choice for back to school, maybe, because we'd have maybe 5 minutes in a school.
Yeah.
I'm
There's just so
encouraging
many
children to
references,
skip,
though.
Yeah,
He's
that's
like,
true.
you know where we would have been right now? Gym class. And then cutting back to gym class.
Right.
All that
Jeannie
stuff
spent
is
some
so
time in
funny.
school.
Yeah.
The other day.
Jeannie's in school. Yeah. That's true. Okay.
We don't have to talk ourselves into this movie being a high school movie.
Oh, it's a high school
movie.
movie.
That's fair.
It is the high school movie, some would say.
Some say.
So
boy.
Ed decides that he is going to go on a crusade against Ferris and his merry gang. After getting a call from Sloane's father, which was Cameron doing the best voice.
Oh my gosh.
Just no, you listen here. Like that, nasally.
That was a pretty good Cameron
Camus.
doing Mr. Peterson.
It's not my first time I've tried it. And I also love that he returns to that voice for every voice he does
For the
in
sergeant.
this movie.
He's Sergeant Peterson on the phone.
Is he really?
Yeah. he's
Oh,
just
that's funny.
Sloane's dad,
I
the
didn't even
police
think about
officer.
It's
that.
like his one play.
Yeah.
What if he is?
What if he's Sloane's dad, and what if Ferris Bueller is his imaginary friend?
Wait, what if Cameron is Sloane's dad?
Yeah, that is a real theory. Not that he's Sloane's dad, but that Ferris is a figment of Cameron's imagination.
Like Fight Club?
That Cameron has imagined Ferris to help him cope. Like Ferris is what Cameron thinks that he should be.
That feels like the Rugrats We're All Dead thing where
It
it's
is.
like,
It
we're
totally
gonna make
is.
it crazy.
The text does not support that. That's just people watching Fight Club once, then being like, I bet every
Everything
movie
is
is
that.
secretly that deep.
Yeah. So after the phone call from Sloane's fake dad and a hilarious kind of slapsticky routine there.
I mean, this is he did like Lampoon stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Did Hughes do anything like that?
Yeah, he did the first Vacation.
Yeah. So
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh.
that's where that makes
Yeah.
so much sense.
Yeah. And he takes Sloane out to the car. Ferris convinces Cameron to take the Ferrari, which is a big deal.
Which is not actually a Ferrari, by the way.
Right. But they
Is it really not?
No,
it's
they got
built to
the.
look like one.
It's built to look like one. They had 2 or 3 actually, obviously,
too
because
expensive
you've got
to-
to.
You gotta crash it. And they take Sloane and they begin their actual day off. Much like we will begin talking about their actual day off after we take a step over to Shout Announcements. Welcome to Shout Announcements. It's the part of the show where we give shout outs and make announcements. Here we go. I want to give a big shout out to Tyler Station. It's where we are. To Crumb and Kettle. It's fueling us. And to Podbean. Because we pay you money and we put stuff on you.
Yeah.
It's Podbean.
Podbean. The
.com.
website.
I want to give a huge shout out to the people who have reviewed our podcast on iTunes and left very kind words and written reviews. That's people like Anna.Guthrie, people like Lufa Trupa, and people like, here we go, Sankahekunisi.
Ah.
My favorite
Mother of
elf.
Dragons.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
about to say,
sorry.
my favorite elf from Lord of the Rings. Thank each of you individually in your own special way in which you deserve uniquely for leaving us a written review.
Yes.
Those reviews are a part of the total that we have right now, which is 180.
Woo!
We are 20 away.
Ooh,
So-
doggy.
A week ago, when you heard we need reviews, we were at 175. So we're getting about 5 a week. And at that pace, we're gonna check that box.
We're going to make it.
We're trying to be Rotten Tomatoes critics. To finish our application, we need those 200 reviews. So
But
we're
that
so
doesn't
glad.
mean we still need them very badly to get there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We absolutely
This
do.
is like that thing of, I think it's called the bystander effect, where if you're in a crowd of people and you see somebody on a bicycle get hit by an ambulance, you're not going to go help because you're like, oh, somebody else is going to do it.
So this is me pointing directly at you. Hey, you, review us.
Nobody's going to do it except you.
Yep.
I have to apply pressure to this podcast so it doesn't bleed out. So you, take your phone and review us.
We have, speaking of bleeding out,
Oh, yikes.
we have another movie. It's the third of 4 in our Back to School series.
Did you spoil a movie I've never seen?
No.
No, it just says Dead in the title. Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're reviewing that next week. We're taking a turn, but it's going to be a good one because we've got Robin Williams and we've got a little more dramatic of a high school movie, but we thought we would just kind of throw that in there. Not that the other 3 are exactly the same, but it's going to be good. It stretches us a little bit.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for that.
Might be controversial. My favorite dramatic performance from Robin Williams.
Ooh.
That's not controversial.
More so than Good Will Hunting.
because Good Will Hunting, he got an Oscar, and this one he didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never seen Dead Poets. I do love Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Very big.
Wait, who
This
has not? So Jordan, you
I
are
have
the only
not
one who's
seen
not
Dead
seen Dead
Poets.
Poets Society. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Dead Poets is good. It's the story of a kid who's like really good at math, but doesn't want to go to school and he wants
Has
to
to
go
go
see,
to therapy.
see a guy about a girl. It's great.
Yeah.
You're going to love it.
Really good. So y'all make sure, rate and review, and listen in next week for Dead Poets Society. And of course, we're going to be keeping up with BIP
Obviously.
every week for the foreseeable future.
Tasty, tasty bip. Well, guess we should hop back in our Ferrari and cruise on into the podcast again. We're back.
We're back.
Bow, bow, bow.
So they drop off Cam's dad's Ferrari. Mistake numero uno.
Yes. I think before that is my super dump.
Oh,
When they go to the really fancy restaurant, the
No,
major...
that's
they
after.
drop it off first.
They drop it off first. Because they park and then they're on foot.
Continue.
So they drop off Cam's dad's Ferrari. It's a big no-no. And the two guys take it on a
So
joyride.
strange. The guy they got to play,
Yes.
he's really strange.
I'm pretty sure he was actually a parking attendant in Chicago that John Hughes was like, do you want to be in this?
I love that.
Like I'm
I
almost
really hope that's
positive
true.
that's
I
real.
really hope that's true.
That's amazing.
And so, yeah, they take it on a joyride. It's the inciting incident for Cam's demise.
Yep.
They go 1 mile too far.
1 mile too far.
Did you guys notice? Obviously, you noticed that it plays the Star Wars theme
Yes.
on their
Yep.
Joyride. Did you know that theme is credited as Stars Wars
No.
in the credits of this
No
movie?
way.
That's
Yep.
that's hilarious.
Funny. The license plates were fun in this too, if you noticed. So
Nervous.
that one
Yes.
says nervous, but then the other ones are all references to some
Yeah,
of
there was
John
a
Hughes' biggest
vacation one.
movies. Yeah.
There was a Breakfast Club one.
Yeah.
It's all
There's
over
one
the
that
place.
said Beethoven, and that didn't even haven't come out
It just
yet.
said Beethoven.
It just said Beethoven. It said this is Beethoven's
It's
car.
just like what
the
Pixar
dog.
did. They did it before Pixar was doing that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
So let's talk about the restaurant.
Yes. Super Dump, the Major D. The guy
Okay.
in the front. I don't know what it is. And this makes me feel, I don't know why, just my Super Dump feels like it's coming from an awful person, me being the awful person.
Okay.
It just doesn't like something about this guy, but it feels appropriate for Ferris Bueller's Day Off to be this way about a Super Dump.
Sure.
His face is too small for me. That's legitimately it. His face is so small. I feel it's Seinfeldian right now.
He looks like
Oh,
he
that's
looks like,
so funny.
and I don't know which is which. He looks like either Beavis or Butthead, and I don't know
It's
which of
like-
the two
He
it is.
looks like Ratatouille.
I was gonna say,
Remy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Remy?
It's like how Edgar, a giant cockroach in Men in Black, finds a man's body and lives inside of it. Like
how
a rat.
Kafka.
A rat has found a small face and lived in it. Like I don't like this guy at all. And if he was gone, this movie's perfect.
He looks like if Neil
He's trying
Patrick
too
Harris went to
hard.
the state fair and someone drew a mean caricature of
Yeah.
him.
So there are so many good funny movies where there's just oh my god, I can't wait for this part. Like Father of the Bride, the
Yeah.
guy who plans the wedding planner.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop. Like there's a store that we go to and we meet somebody. Hilarious. They stand out. If there's a sequel, they just come back and they weren't intended to.
Right.
This guy felt like he was trying really hard to be
To
that.
be that.
It's so, and that's what's so weird because I was like, wait, a lot of these people are caricatures because Rooney is totally just like
Yeah.
play. It's the same play. He's screaming when he shouldn't. Why is this guy in charge of kids? But this dude, the extra piece is a small face and don't like it. Super dumb.
Okay.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Get past that tiny face, and now I can really enjoy this podcast.
This is when we start running into Ferris's dad, right?
I love how it was a pause because we don't know how to recover.
I don't know
on
how to
much
respond
I
to your
hate
super dumb.
the tiny face.
This is like
Everyone's
Toad and the rich guy stuff.
Well, it is.
Somebody with a tiny face
Patrick
hurt you
Dempsey.
deeply.
Yes.
Did rich people hurt you? Yeah.
Does somebody with a small face hurt you, Carter?
Probably.
So this is when we begin the like ongoing sequence of almost bumping into Mr. Bueller.
Love
I
it.
love this.
It's so and like the number I remember as a kid not understanding, like I thought they were caught outside of the restaurant and then they ran away again because they're so close to him.
Yes.
I was very confused, but it's all so good.
Yeah.
Like just the narrow misses and the way that it like they take the cab, the next cab pulls up so he doesn't even notice. All of that is amazing.
What about the narrow miss? Because it has shown up a lot in movies that we've reviewed recently. Either that or it's been 3 times and it stands out to me.
Right.
What about that has people still using it? Like, what does that do for us that we enjoy it still? Like, why does
It's
that
tense.
not feel like a trope to me?
It's built into it is a trope, but it's a fine trope.
Yeah.
It's done well.
It feels different. This is not the same as the kids in Jurassic Park hiding in the kitchen and the raptors are looking for them.
Right.
Like, I hope they don't see us because we're in the same place. Like, that's legitimately
That's danger.
hiding
This
for your
feels
life.
more along the lines of it's more comparable to like you're in the grocery store and you see somebody you don't want to talk to.
the stakes are low, I think.
Right.
I mean, in this, they're high, but I mean, it's your dad.
But it's
your
high
dad's
school
going to
high.
see you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
'Cause-
That's not as high of a stake as you're going to get eaten by a velociraptor.
Right. But in some cases, too, in some of the movies we've done, both parties are oblivious.
Right.
They have no
Yeah.
idea that they're like in Emperor's New Groove.
Sure.
Neither of them know that they're missing each other.
Second thought, make my potatoes a salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that stuff. So Rooney at this point is at the home of the Buellers. And as much as I love all of this and I want to talk about how much I love all of this. This is also my super dump though, because it feels like things get a little weird with like relationships in this point. Specifically, like when Jeannie comes home and like for some reason doesn't recognize her principal and he seems to not recognize her, but then later on they know each other, like, and she knows
Yeah.
that it was like
That should have been.
it just gets
That
a
felt
little
like an easy
loose.
fix.
And then also it's like he's gonna go to jail. Like he is breaking and entering into this home, and he also hit a dog on the head with a pot that would kill it. So it's just
Super
a
dumb.
lot of it's my super dump.
Super dumb is, for me, not necessarily the dog, but how the slapstickiness of this part just gets so removed from reality that it becomes boring to me. Like the whole time I'm watching Rooney try and break into their house,
It's probably my least favorite part.
ready
I
to
love
get back
the
to
shoe in
Ferris.
the
Tiny
mud.
face. Yes.
I
But here's
do
the
love
thing.
Ooh, that
shoe
made
in
me
the
feel
mud.
icky because I hate
that like
it-
sound when it like suctions
well,
out.
and just wet socks. And,
Yeah, ugh.
The hang on, I have to tell this. I don't like dirt. When I was a kid, I wouldn't play in the sandbox because I was gonna get dirt under my fingernails. Anyway, I don't know that I'll ever have another chance to tell that
That's
story.
good.
So here
Do you
we
feel
go.
better
There
now
it
that you
is.
said
I'm
that?
glad that I got that off my chest.
realizing more and more that Doge is Tony Shalhoub's monk.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, I hear the defense of the slapstickiness of that, like, well, that's what it feels like when your principal's after you. Like,
I don't know, yeah.
It just felt like he broke into his house, because we've used that to excuse the parade and to
Sure.
excuse some of the other fantastical stuff. So
Yeah. It's closer to the who's the guy hunting down Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds in Proposal.
I can't remember his name.
It's closer to whatever
agent.
that role is.
yeah,
And like this is
Sure.
a little bit out of your way.
I love
Yeah.
that Ferris gets caught despite his own brilliance because his tape repeats.
yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
think that's great.
Yes.
I love
for all you kids listening now, that's called a tape. It's like an MP3, but you can hold it.
Yeah, it's not like the stuff that sticks things together.
right.
Yeah, that's called tape.
Different
That's
tape.
also tape.
But I also love the glimpses into the Bueller's life that we get while he's breaking in, like all the flowers showing up for Ferris at the
That's
house
hilarious.
and all this.
How did those get inside?
Right. Who
Dog
answered
door.
the door?
The dog answered the door.
Everybody crawled through the dog door.
So here's the thing. There's so much good happening here. It just is also simultaneously my super dump.
Yep.
That's
feel
where I
that.
land basically.
With a movie like this, when I'm super dumping, I have to just say, what do I love the least about this
Sure.
movie?
Yeah. And that's part of it, I think. No movie's perfect. So there's always going to be something to find like that.
Right.
If you dig hard enough.
Yeah.
But speaking of digging, he does basically murder a dog. Dogs dig. That was my connection there.
Yeah. Not cool with that.
But he goes to that arcade looking for Ferris. Is that before he goes to the house?
Yeah,
And he
this is
sees
before he
them
goes to the
at the
house.
Cubs game? Or he doesn't see
He
them at
doesn't come to the
game.
Cubs
He just
game.
misses
That's
them.
another near miss.
Both
Both
oblivious.
parties are oblivious.
We miss. We get swing bada 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 swing
So
bada.
What's
So
the score? 0-0.
Who's winning?
The Bears.
The Bears.
I almost wanted like there was just a lot of scenarios where I would have been in the hunk today. I mean, we just need to live with that. But I did go to Chicago this year and catch a foul ball at Wrigley Field.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Dude,
So
I've
Who was
been
winning?
to
Chicago.
Bears.
Wow.
I've been to Wrigley like many times.
Really?
Actually, yeah. My dad, my
Is Wrigley-
grandpa. Yeah,
That's why you
Mr.
have
Wrigley.
gum you're offering gum all the time.
Wrigley Wonders.
diehard Cubs fan, and there was a time, a couple times in high school that it was like, hey, we're just gonna go to Chicago, go catch a Cubs game.
Dead gummit, man. It was
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, Wrigley's great. I love any time we get to see it too.
I too have been places.
Like, I love that you're trying to carry on a conversation or either kill a conversation about sports was who was winning. Like, nobody says that when they talk about, wait, who was winning?
He was making a joke about what Rooney
I
says in the bar.
know.
Carter,
When you went, who was winning?
probably not the Cubs. they weren't good at that time.
No, this season. Maybe next year.
This season.
My team.
That's the extent of my sports knowledge. We've officially exhausted it. So
okay.
they go to the museum. This was almost my super pump for this movie.
love
It was
the
my
museum.
super pump for this movie.
It's your super pump? Talk
Either way.
about it.
Yeah, this is, how long was this?
Maybe
90 seconds to 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, if even.
This is just the most wholesome, happy
Yes.
scene I've ever seen in a
I
movie.
love when they're holding hands with the field group.
the
With
music
kids.
is perfect.
Field trip.
And the museums hold a special place in my heart too. I was engaged at the Dallas Museum of Art. And so I've always loved that vibe. And somehow it captured how I feel when I'm around something like that.
Yeah.
And it just felt it was so good for John Hughes because I think sometimes we forget that filmmaking is an art form.
Right. Yeah.
And so to be in what we tend to find most tangibly as art, to be in that setting,
Sure.
within a setting, it was so good. And the way that they were standing and the way that they were each looking at, I wanted to just kind of pause at several things and be like, what else was he trying to say here? Like, was there a significance to the picture they were in
I
front
kind
of?
of don't think so.
I don't think there was either.
I think it was just a group of friends mocking and appreciating at the same time, but like mocking the poses and like
I just loved it. This
it's
whole
so good.
Yeah, this whole vibe is something for me that there's a bucket that I can put this into with a lot of other things in my life. that there's just not enough of it.
Yeah. Well, it's not that scene. The museum scene is not something I appreciated as a kid.
No.
Me neither.
I was so bored by it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And I
It's
think
great.
you're right. It's wholesome.
Wholesome, I think, is the
Here we go.
word to describe
I
it.
love that they chose on the day off amidst being in a parade and getting a dad Ferrari and stuff. They went to a museum, right?
Yeah.
And it's Chicago.
That
like,
would speak to you, I think, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that they could have done.
Sure. The bean.
Yeah, it's which didn't even exist at the time. Instead of the
No
museum,
beans yet.
yeah,
There's
no
no
beans,
such
no
thing.
beans in Chicago.
Anyway.
Aquarium, zoo, like they could have done
Right,
something
yeah,
else
there's
that would have
tons
been
of stuff.
funny, but they chose a museum, and I loved that. Super pumped.
Yeah. Do we even need to talk about the parade other than it's awesome?
So the construction workers is B-roll. Those
Yeah.
were actual construction workers
Dancing
that are
to
dancing.
the music. Yeah.
I love that.
John Hughes was just like, film it.
It's all good, dude. That could have been 20, 30 minutes.
I read a trivia. Maybe I just don't remember this. The group of people dancing on the stairs is from Thriller,
Is it the same crew?
Are they the same dancers from Thriller?
I guess.
I mean, I could see
I don't
that.
know.
That's
They
just-
didn't
what's
look,
fun, like-
they didn't look like monsters,
That's what
so
I'm-
I couldn't
that's what-
tell.
Yeah,
I was
right.
reading
For
it,
many
I was like,
reasons,
wait,
they're
what?
unrecognizable. So
But yeah, something about Thriller, like it, I don't know. It was weird, but
that's funny.
That's interesting.
I love it all though.
that was all very dream sequency though.
I could have watched the parade. I think you're exactly right. For 20, 30 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
just riveting.
Well, and because of the way that this movie is, we're not going, how'd he get up there? Why is everybody cool
Yeah.
with this? Why are people letting
Right.
him do this? It's just like, well, it's Ferris.
When did he have the time to train with these people and know exactly what the song is?
Right. His hair looks great too, by the way.
It does.
Just FYI. But this is when we also get one of my favorite Cam scenes, which is walking with Sloane trying to
Yes.
find Ferris after the parade and just
Yes.
going like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, Ferris is good at everything. I'm not good at anything.
Yeah.
And she
This
says,
is pointing
she
back
says-
to it feels like Cam's story.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and Sloane says, what are you interested in? That's what you should major in. He says, absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And she's like, me neither.
Right.
Yeah.
And it I don't know. It's just so human and so
Yeah.
personal.
It's really good.
I mean, I felt that. I still feel that when I'm thinking, like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like, what
Right.
are you interested in? Absolutely nothing. Just, I want to have a good time right now.
Right. It's hard to remember the things that interest you when you're in a place that is so like bleak
Yeah.
feeling.
John Hughes has a certain wrapping for like the presence of his plots that is not trying to hide it from you and then like subliminally say this is what this is about.
Right.
But like in here, it is very much about like at that age. And again, the reason it's also timeless is you don't have to be a high schooler to not know what you're going to do with your life.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that comes up a lot. The same way that like Breakfast Club was like, you know what? We're a lot more alike than people say we are.
It's
Kind of
universal.
breaking cliques and stuff like that
Sure.
too. But he does feel very universal all the time. And I'm so glad, honestly, that he had a short career.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was
Yeah.
just 7 or 8 movies because it had no chance for diluting anything that he's ever done. And it just feels like
Was the 8th movie Beethoven?
maybe it might have been. I forget. I always forget about that one. We should do a Beethoven series.
All
No,
like
we should
30
not.
of them.
And yes, but yeah, love that moment, and I love the moment too after the parade where Cam is just trying to. He's like, what would you say, zombie state?
He's
for a while?
catatonic. So they pick up the car. They've roughly doubled the miles that were on the car.
Yep.
Cam's freaking out. He goes catatonic, and they try and fix him by slapping his face a bunch.
Uh-huh.
And then they, I love imagining the process of walking him up to sit on the chair on the diving board in his catatonic state.
Yeah.
And I found myself being caught up in that last night of like, how did they even get him out there? And they're like, it's Ferris Bueller, man.
Stop,
It's
yeah.
atmosphere. What are you doing?
Yep.
And he takes a dive into the pool, literally, and he gets pulled out. And we get my favorite line of the whole movie, which is, Ferris Bueller, you're my hero. And he's just being a silly boy
Yeah.
because he thinks that it's still fixable.
Yes. Cam and Ferris. So Matthew Broderick and what is the actor's name who plays Cam?
Alan Ruck.
Yep.
Those two had actually done a show together.
Yeah, they were already
like
friends.
a stage show together, and so they had built some camaraderie already, which is great. And you can see that even more. I love the little bits like that, to where
Yeah.
it's like they're legitimately friends.
Yeah,
that makes
I do
this
too.
even better.
So essentially, reversing a car doesn't take miles off of it. Who knew? I did, but who knew? Actually, now that I think about it, I might have known that because of this movie,
Yeah.
which is very funny.
Yeah, I think that's the reason I know that.
But it's a brilliant plan up until it's not. When Cam finally, I love this moment. It's so cathartic for him to like break free of the oppression of like his parents' anger and their controllingness.
This
and,
felt like the longest monologue.
yeah.
in the whole movie.
And I made fun of it earlier, but the way he says, my old man's always pushing me around.
Yeah.
Like
Around.
Yeah, it gets so.
It's like he doesn't know how to get out these feelings he's never expressed before.
Right.
So they come out awkwardly.
Well, and I think him taking it out on the Ferrari is taking it out on his dad.
Yeah.
Not even symbolically. Like it is so like full circle here. And then,
I'm glad we never see his dad, right?
Yes,
we don't ever see
either
his
of his
dad.
parents. And I love that.
That's great.
And then, because it could be anybody. You know what I mean? When you don't show the parents, it could be anybody's parents. Cam's anger explodes and the car reverse crashes through the window into the forest. And that's that. There goes any hope of salvaging the car. But I think what we're left with is, I think that the car doesn't necessarily represent Cam's dad, but more his current relationship with his dad. Because to me, it feels like when the car crashes, it's still cathartic. Like, it's scary, but it's still like,
Sure.
now we can get past the car.
Right. It's like the conversation that Cam and Sloane have at the parade that we just referenced, that he doesn't know what on earth he's going to do with his future. I think in this moment, he might be realizing, well, right now, maybe more of what I'm doing in my future isn't career-based, but like relationship-based with my dad.
Yeah.
So at this point, it was a catalyst for, I know the next step. It's scary, but I know the next step.
Well, I think it's
something.
I think it's being sick.
Yeah.
There's something wrong for real now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so he feels comfortable in it. It's really a cool ending to Kim's story.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Kim. I get the high anxiety part of him for sure. And then the backyard sprint.
Backyard sprint. Real quickly though, can we talk about where they're coming, where Jeannie and Mom are coming from?
Oh yeah, Jeannie gets arrested for making a fake 911 call.
And we have Charlie Sheen.
Such a weird scene.
Yeah.
But
Really weird Sheen.
nice.
But so the trivia here was, and I had different emotions about it. So the trivia was that Charlie Sheen, to make it look like he was strung out, didn't sleep for 48 hours before, right? So for anybody to tell that story, they probably have to hear it from Charlie Sheen, who says, "Oh,
I'm sure that's
didn't
what I
sleep
would
for
say
48
if I was
hours.
Charlie Sheen.
Right." But then again, homie's playing someone who
probably
is
just
strung out.
Yeah, he probably was just strung out.
He's strung out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like Charlie Sheen is 100% on drugs in this scene.
Yeah. There's every chance.
Knowing who he is.
What happened.
Okay,
Very
cool.
much.
I just want to put that out there.
I
thought
love
it
the
was funny.
final connection that he was going to point her towards Ferris as the guy that can fix her problem. There's an entire cut storyline with this guy. You read that?
Yep.
Maybe that explains why this feels like it doesn't belong in the movie. Like I've always thought that this.
Did it feel like
thing-
a strange cameo or something?
feels like
Because
a
was he
strange-
that big of a deal yet? Was
Well-
Hot Shots and stuff yet?
The thing is that I feel like Jeannie's story doesn't go anywhere until suddenly it goes everywhere. Does that make
I feel
sense?
that.
Like she's the same character until about 2 minutes. She does a complete 180 turn and covers for Ferris at the end.
I think to me, I've always interpreted it as her making out with Charlie Sheen's character was the rebellious thing that she needed to get out of her system. She was mad that Ferris always cuts school and does the rebellious stuff, and then she did her rebellious thing, and now she's okay.
Right,
She kind of got it out, and
That's
she's
it.
good now.
That feels like a weak character motivation, but
Sure, yeah,
that
but-
could certainly be it.
It's a
high school.
much more diluted version of what Cam goes through.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
And so Ferris is running late. He's gonna get beat home if he's not careful. So he sprints. We get the that song thing that happens.
Yeah.
And he runs and I don't know, ruins a bunch of families' backyards and evenings.
This happens a lot in movies too.
It does.
They're going through different scenes and
And the
stuff.
slow-mo. I mean, nobody's ever taken longer to come down off a trampoline bounce than Ferris at the end of this movie.
I know.
And then he's caught by Ed.
Right at the end.
And it looks like it's all over for our hero
With
Ferris.
a torn and tattered pant leg. Like
He even gets the key.
Why did he put his shoe
this.
back on? It was worthless.
Who knows?
No,
Maybe he had out.
super. I changed my super. I'm kidding.
And then Jeannie rescues him for reasons unknown to me, other than
Yeah.
the only thing I can think of is like if he's gonna get caught, it's gonna be on my terms, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But he gets up to bed. He takes the baseball that I guess was in his pocket all day.
In his bed. I think it was just in his
No,
bed.
I think it's the one he caught at the Cubs game.
Really? That's the fly ball from the Bears game?
I always assumed that.
That would make sense.
And then he throws it at his $1 billion stereo system, nails the power button because Ferris.
And lands in the glove.
Yes, which is great. and then rolls over, fake asleep. Okay, I love you, Daddy.
Yeah.
So, very good. Like, so funny.
Is this the time to say that Matthew Broderick is my super pump?
Yes.
Because he is unbelievable in this movie.
He did so much for keeping the like family party like vibe on set from what I was reading.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Because almost anyone involved with this said it was just so much fun. But I think that happens with Hughes films in general.
There's a lot of behind the
That
scenes
he just creates a great environment. Yeah.
on the Blu-ray that I have. I didn't get to watch it the other night when we watched
including
it.
including that Ben Stein. This was like his first cinematic thing he'd ever done.
He
He's an
ad-libbed
actual,
that thing.
well, he's an actual
He's
professor.
economics. Yeah, he got a degree in
Or
economics.
Degree. He's not a professor.
They were like, come in and talk about something you know about.
It was a 6 degrees of separation is how he got the job, and it starts at Richard Nixon,
Yeah.
That's wild.
and then it ends up at John Hughes.
Yeah.
Crazy
That's
stuff.
Which is crazy. I totally agree with you. Matthew Broderick is phenomenal in this. If not for Cam, absolutely my super pump.
He is so unique.
He is.
There is nobody like him.
Mm-mm.
That charm it's reaching Ryan's levels.
Yeah, and that feels like a weird thing to say about a movie star because it's like for you to be popular, you need to be one of a kind, right? But you know, it's funny that we had 2 of his movies so close together with Lion King and Ferris Bueller.
That's
They're so
the
similar.
real Lion King.
Yeah.
So as the credits roll, we get a scene that actually was from an earlier part of the movie and got cut for the credits, which is Rooney walking and getting picked up by the school bus. It's so something I love about John Hughes. He is not afraid of a long scene.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not afraid to let something play out and run its course and really go on.
That's the only thing in common with it, but very different. It's like a Denis Villeneuve type thing.
No, I agree.
You know, but it's
I'm going to make you remember I'm in control.
And this bus scene is so long and so funny.
yeah.
It's incredible.
Bet you never smelled a real school bus before.
These gummy bears have been in my pocket, so they're warm and soft.
Ugh.
Oh, he throws it. Oh, it's so funny. So, can we rate this movie?
We can indeed.
Yes, we can.
We here at Two Chunks and a Hunk have perfected the art of rating movies using the scientific cinema scale, much like what Ferris would have learned about at school. Wow, that sentence ran away from me. I got speed wobbles like on a skateboard.
That's the John Hughes. You're not afraid of a long sentence.
That's perfect reference.
Oh, wow. Like I'm on the phone with you and you just now told me you're on a skateboard. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
So the best thing we could ever say about a movie is own it, don't lend it.
Buy that poster.
After that is buy it, then rent it, followed by stream it, and then forget it, and last. But certainly least, the worst thing we can ever say about a movie. God hath forsaken us.
I'll go first. So it is a buy it. It is not a buy the poster. It is a buy it because, I don't know, it's in comparison to other buy the posters that I've had. I do enjoy School of Rock more than Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and that feels very un-American of me to say, or of like a movie fan. There are so many points about it that I love. It just felt like there were things we could have done without. Like certain things of like, and it didn't flesh out very well. And I'm not just like a sucker for plot points, you know? And it's one of the closest to buying the poster that I've ever had. But it's a buy it, which is like the second highest thing for me. It is for you too. Just because there is just so much joy. And the thing that I read from Ben Stein earlier, like it's this timeless thing that just kind of gives us a break sometimes from the mundane.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Poster. Easy poster. Easy poster for me. I remember the first time I saw this movie, I was completely amazed because I didn't know movies could be like this, that they could have that layer of unreality. Well, I said this last week too. Maybe the easiest poster I've ever given a movie on our show.
And the week before that.
Yeah, I keep saying that, don't I? This is amazing.
There's nothing wrong with it progressively.
This is an amazing movie.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a buy that poster for me as well. Which pains me because I typically like to be a little stricter on movies, but I'm just following my gut with this series. And I mean, I would hang Ferris in my living room.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, if I had that poster, you know it would be on my wall.
Oh, it'd be so awesome.
And it's been a favorite of mine for a long time too. There's some longevity playing into things here where I remember the first time I watched it, and I've probably seen this movie a dozen times, and I love it every time, and it never loses the appeal to me. So yeah, it's a poster. Don't forget to tune in next week as we talk about Dead Poets Society, the third installment of our Back to School series.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to sign out of this episode, I'd like for us each to say our name and what song we would sing in a parade. For Two Chunks and a Hunk, I'm Jordan Wonders. And strictly for crowd interaction alone, I'm going Mr. Brightside.
I love that.
It'd be great.
I'm Doge, and if there's one thing I know about parades, it's that teens love them. So I would sing
Fortnite.
the Baby Shark song and floss aggressively the whole time.
Oh, that snort was awful. I'm sorry.
I've had so many things run through my head, but I'm going to just land here. And what I would sing is, what better for a parade in Chicago in the 80s than some Sean Paul? And I would just start on like, Sean Paul and Sasha, sing for them, baby.
Would you
and
just
then
do
it's
the
like Shakira. It's the...
I got the right to put you turning you. Oh, girl.
Like, I also think it would be fun to have that many people, because no one really knows the words to any Sean Paul song.
Right.
To just see them all be like, my little friend is it.
That'd be very good.
Yeah. Either that or Amazing Grace.
You're still here?
It's over.
Go home.